The ancient philosopher Heraclitus was one of the most important thinkers in history. His views on change and the flow stand in stark contradiction to the picture of the stark, static universe. His philosophy is a good standing point for anyone concerned with change in life. And he said that life is much like a river. It has peaks and troughs, pits and swirls, and all are about part of the ride. He observed that the state of nature is in constant flux. Cold things grow hot, hot things cool, the wet dries, and parched moistens. Join me today for a fireside chat, because everything is in a constant state of flux. Everything is constantly shifting, changing, and becomes something other than it was before. Thank you very much for your time and for joining me today on a bit of a different episode, a little more esoteric, shall we say, as things are in that constant state of flux, as I mentioned. Just test driving a little bit of this cultivar that's in cure. And again, glad you could join me and hope you're sitting by the fire with me, getting warm and well lit. Let me just sort of preface this tangent that I'm going to go off on with the fact that some of you may or may not know that throughout my pretty much whole life I've had some sort of psychological issues that have been dealt with. I was an outpatient for 5 years as a child. During that time I was put on Ritalin and given a skill set, a set of tools, if you will, to be able to deal with what was going on in here. I won't extrapolate on that, but at a very young age, entities manifested themselves, and they engaged in a debate on literally who was going to get possession of the friendly neighborhood chiliboos, little old soul. So needless to say, that ended up being a long and strange trip in itself, but it allowed me to have a perspective that allowed me at a very early age to know that what you see presented to you is not reality. Things are not what they seem, literally. I'll give you this example. As a 9-year-old child, I was taught how to do transcendental meditation. I could meditate and physically leave my body. I was able to do self-hypnosis, and one time during a quote-unquote session with my child psychologist, I was in a room. It was a nice room set up, and pictures on the wall, and couches, and a nice ambient setting to it. During the course of the interview, so to speak, or the session, I asked my psychologist, point blank, why are those people behind the mirror watching me? So again, this is a two-way mirror, or a one-way mirror. I couldn't see it. It's just a mirror on the wall in this room. I'm a 9-year-old child, a boy, sitting with my child psychologist, as I had many times. Most of the time it was in his office. This particular time we went to a different room, and I was like, hey, what's that all about? And he was kind of taken aback that I was cognizant of what the hell was going on. So as I got older, things changed in my life. I dealt with my mental health issues. I dealt with addiction issues. My mental health issues have been an ongoing thing because depression is somewhat hereditary in my family. It rears its ugly head from time to time, as I'm sure it does for many folks out there. We all know people due to mental health illnesses that have taken their own lives, be it in our own families or those near and dear to us. So I have also had the advent over time to research and spend a considerable amount of my life, not a wasted amount in any way, shape, or form, trying to have an idea of why I have this perception that things are not what they seem. So one of the things that I found out during my research is obviously you look at the science that goes into marketing products to you and I, be it a food product or some type of gear or wear, product that you want to buy, cell phones, what have you. there is a science that goes into that. Specifically, they know what certain colors are triggers to people, certain scents, because our olfactory senses are so powerful. So again, they have this science just put into wanting us to purchase things. Now, behavioral science of us as a species has been going on forever, I am sure, because we look at where we are now in the current time frame, and even though we've got technology literally at our fingertips, we've changed as a species, because now we're sort of, I call it pseudo-intelligent, because you can go online and, hey, if you want to know the Cretaceous period of when this sort of duck-billed platypus was in its prehistoric state and this blah 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 blah, you can go find an answer anywhere. You want to know anything, it's just instantaneous. Talking about my doobie, that's probably going to happen a lot. Once upon a time, you had to go to a library. You had to do research to find knowledge. Back in the day, some folks were lucky enough to have an Encyclopedia Britannica at their disposal, be it in their home or they knew someone that had it. And my whole point is, when you have to find out about information and you have to accrue it and it takes you time, you end up retaining more of it and it's more beneficial, whereas when you're looking up that Cretaceous period duck-billed platypus from the fucking Meso period 150 million years ago, and you get your answer, boom, bam, there you are, your instant encyclopedia, drop your little fucking tidbit of information, and boom, it's gone. The retention level is next to fucking zero. Science has already shown us that present day, our attention spans are slightly longer than a fucking goldfish. So, I digress. The whole point of this video is about the state of flux that is constant, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the constant state of change. It's much like the river. The river changes. You walk into the river and you walk out the other side, turn right around and step back in the river. Because it's ever flowing, always changing, it will have changed from the time that you walk through it and turned around. You yourself will have changed from walking through the river. In my own life, I have found over the years that I exist literally in a constant state of flux, much like nature. How it's manifested itself in my life has been, not for lack of trying, but I don't have a short attention span, but I do tire of things easily. I bore of things. I have gone through now countless types of employment over the years, a jack of all trades, a master of none. Speaking of masters, I will leave a short clip at this video, which I highly suggest you all take a gander at. Spend some time. But again, master of none, but jack of all trades. I have literally done everything and have just accrued a huge myriad of different skills that are applicable to everything. Yet again, when I moved out to this type of environment 8 years ago and began this lifestyle, I literally in the first 2 years, my skill set and what I learned about life, I learned more in 2 years than I had learned in the previous 20, because I was in that urban robot mode, trying to get the job, trying to stay on the job, getting bored of the job, going to another job, and I did this with so many different things in my life. Be it jobs, people, places I live, because I need constant stimulation. I'm in that state of flux. So I guess I've reached another point where I am again trying to continuously self-improve, be it every day learn something new, or just, I just remember I mentioned at the end of last year about a couple of those videos that came up and the synergy of the numbers, and how there's change going on in my universe. Well, there's change going on in all our universes because it is constantly changing, and you enter in the concept that there's variables, that maybe there's multi-universes, which science is now acknowledging a dipole universe, but that's a whole different topic. But I need to do things for me that are going to be stimulating me and changing me. It's not like I'm going to shave my head and put on some robes and become a Hare Krishna, or I'm going to take Operation Overgrow and build a giant greenhouse outside and just become this mad fucking overgrow, just No, that's not realistic. It's just identifying things in me that I'm not happy with, that I have to put forth the effort and make the changes daily. You know, change different habits, different behaviors, albeit slight. It won't be things that people will really notice, but inside me, how I feel and how I go through my day will be, and has been, impacted dramatically because, you know, here we are, mid-March, and I've been slowly instilling these things since the beginning of the year. And as I said, I'm talking my doobie out hardcore. One other thing I want to address, and I guess I'm going to address it because it plays with my mind a little bit, and we're talking about my mind a little bit, is the fact that, you know, I can't express enough my appreciation for your thoughtfulness and generosity and the willingness of people wanting to share and to literally help us out. And you have immensely, yet I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around that, and I know Mrs. Chili Boo is kind of uncomfortable with it too. So maybe, no, I don't even need to say maybe. I've already gotten enough feedback from you folks, those that have donated, or those that suggested I go this route with the PayPal me and that. Like, you don't want me to be accountable for what I do with what is gifted to Operation Overgrow, but I have to do that because I don't feel it's right. I'm not taking advantage of anybody. Nobody's floating our boat out here. I've said it time and time again, and like many people residing day to day, it's a paycheck to paycheck kind of existence, you know. Fingers crossed, plans made, you know, short-term, long-term plans. 50, by the time we're 60, all this noise hopefully will be paid off. You know, we're kind of on track for that, even though we struggle like everyone else struggles. So the sharing is caring, the paying it forward is just my most humble way to try to assuage for you know, grievances done and negativity put out in the past, and again, inject that that sort of mantra and that mindset, so that even if you're doing something that may seem trivial to other people, it's the fact that you're mindful. Service to others instead of service to self. It's not about me. It's about we. Obviously, we have to take care of ourselves first and foremost, because if you can't do that, how the fuck can you take care of anybody else, right? So I guess that's what I wanted to touch on today in this video. Sun is coming up. Nice warm fire to share with you guys. Half a doobie and a bit of a ramble. And I think I'll end it at that and leave you guys with this video clip. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll put a link to that channel down below. Fantastic stuff. It's always about improving ourselves and working on ourselves so that we can be better, not just for ourselves, but everybody else around us. That's how come I enjoy Jordan Peterson's work. And stimulate yourself. Keep thinking outside of the box. And as always, you know, we encourage you to support your local farmers and artists. We want you to pay it forward when you can. We don't want you to tap yourself out or leave yourself hanging dry. Sharing is caring. Thank you very much for your time today. I'm going to light this up. And with that, I leave you with the fire.